you, Peyton. The new school year brings an excitement, not only for new classes, but new opportunities out on the field and with a team. However, building those bonds can sometimes take a dark turn and lead to sport hazing. Here to talk about the importance of prevention and ways to start conversations with your kids is sport and clinical psychologist Dr. John Heil. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes. Okay. So I think a lot of times people might think hazing happens in fraternities or with college-age student, but what would you want somebody to know about hazing in general?
I think what I'd like them to know is it happens wherever there's belonging. So it could be a fraternity in college, the prototypical example, but it could be a sports team in college, and often there are incidents of hazing there. But it also, we know it typically begins in high school and sometimes even younger.
Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to understand in a process, because when people come together, naturally they want to create some team building process. And I think we could say that the hazing process is often well-intentioned. It's team building gone wrong.
Yeah.
And with that can come terrible problems sometimes.
And that's the scary thing too, is that they're trying to build community, but they're doing it in ways that are harmful rather than helpful. So what kind of harm happens when we turn to hazing?
Well, all sorts of harms. Sometimes there's the obvious physical injuries. In the last 25 years, in hazing in general, we have documented 50 deaths from hazing in the last 25 years. So there's certainly a worst case scenario, but often it undermines team dynamics. It disrupts relationship between teammates. It hurts relationships between players and coaches. And it really gets people off to a bad start in terms of really appreciating the sport experience.
Yeah, it can turn people off from the sport completely too.
It can. Yeah. I'm well aware of people having left sport for those sorts of reasons.
And that's sad too. Not only the tragic consequences of possible death in some cases, but of course, just taking away a love for something that somebody was once passionate for too.
Yes. Yeah, and it's very hard to identify, because there's certain things that don't seem harmful but can be. And then there's sometimes events that happen that are really just inadvertent. It's no one's fault. No one did anything wrong, but then that looks like a bigger problem than it is. You know, accidents can happen. So it becomes important to look at the intention behind things and the actions as well as the consequences, to really identify whether it's really kind of a malignant form of hazing that can tip into other things like bullying, racial discrimination, sexual discrimination, and so forth, or whether it's just people trying to find their way and going down a dead end.
Yeah, and guiding them to a more positive outlook of things too. So I think a big thing here, you talk about prevention versus punishment. How do we start creating change?
I think we create change by starting at the top with the coaches. We need to have them be aware and accountable. And then a key role, I think, and there's the role of a team captain, because nothing can happen without the team captain's support. And if we really make an effort to do leadership training with captains and student leaders in sports organizations, I think that's the best approach we can take to limiting the problems that unfold. On the other end, all the way from the Olympics down to youth sport, there's more and more sports psychologists. Get sports psychologists involved and do planned, purposeful team building. And then you can set an example, people can follow up on that and continue that type of activity.
Yeah, a better trajectory for it all. Conversations with parents, obviously, I feel like as the teams start to form, this is a good conversation to have around the dinner table.
It is a good conversation, and it's, just ask how things are going, focus more on the enjoyment versus the performance, because if performance is the only real seemingly important question, these other things don't seem as important to hear or to say. So focusing on the experience of the activity itself, everyone's happy when performance goes well, but yeah, focusing on the experience, and then keeping a very open line of communication and being aware when something's off, with a person, and try to look a little deeper to see if what that might be, whatever it is. It could be the sport activity, it could be something else.
Yeah, great guidelines there, Dr. Heil. We appreciate you, and of course, contact information. Zen Zone Digital is a great way to get some resources, and of course, there's a great resource with the Gordy Center up at UVA as well. We'll have that over on our website, WDBJ7.com. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, stay with us on Here at Home. We are teaching you about the